Oh. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. New channel for us. This is Pro Motorcycle Detailing Restoration. So primarily used to specialise in detailing. I have been trained in restoration, etc. So we're moving into that now. Something I've always wanted to do for a very long time, and I'm glad to say at the moment we've got two projects in. This lovely Yamaha Vmax, 1991 Vmax. Obviously you can tell it needs a bit of work with the wiring. In for a full restore, not a bolt job, stripped back. It had a kind of a rat look, and the customer wants to go back to a sort of Street Fighter look. So changing the bars, the back seat, etc. That front wheel needs changed, etc. A few modifications on that. And then over here we have a VS 1400 from 1989, which the customer has owned from brand new. So what's that? 25, 26 years. So these bikes are very adaptable to go to a bobber look, which is what the customer has requested we do. So it's going to get a full restoration. We've going to chop the rear fender, shorten the shocks, smaller seat maybe, a couple of other wee tweaks, different handlebars, etc. Just to give that nice bobber look. And yeah, I've got a custom paint job. So that bike's going to be completely different to how it rolled in here or how it rolled off the shop factory floor. This one's going to be primarily still stock looking, but with that Street Fighter look with the handlebars, etc. So this one had a little electrical problem when it came in, but we've managed to fix that. But I'll show you the wiring in a second. So there's a lot of wiring issues with this. Customer's done his best job when he's been fitting his new lights, etc. But we need to tidy that up and get it looking better. Toying with the idea of doing a complete new wiring harness. Everything here using all the original switches, etc., but just changing the wiring. A lot of the connections are very, very brittle. But yeah, not much else going on with that one at the minute, but we're going to get cracked on with that one today. Continue stripping it down. We've only really done a bit of the back wire, took the seats off, took some of the side fairings off, but I want to get right tucked in about that today. As we're going through it, we need to label up as much as the wiring as we can. We've got a wiring diagram, so we're going to follow that as well. But we need to label up as much as we can, so when it's going back together, it's easy enough. But I do think a new wiring loom, custom wiring loom, is the way to go. Yeah, but the VS 1400s, all stripped. It's the bare frame. Swing arms prepped, frames prepped. There's a few other bits that need some preparation before getting into primer. Bit of sandblasting needs done just to clean some parts up, and then we'll hoping to get that into a rolling chassis within the next week or two. So the customer paid somebody previously that, what's the word I'm looking for here? Recondition. So they painted the wheels. Wheels originally were chrome, but what the customers wanted was obviously black wheels. So, but instead of stripping the wheels or sanding them back, primering them, etc., they've just literally taped off the bearings and then hit it with a spray can of gloss black paint, so all the paint's flaking off, etc. Not a professional job in the slightest, so very disappointed in that. And then also they did the engine block, etc. Same again, chrome bits, just pure black paint straight over the top. No primer, no etching primer, no sanding back. So it's never going to bond, it's never going to stick. So got that to contend with as well. So there's a debate on the wheels and now whether we strip them new spokes. I think the right way to do it, take them completely apart, take the spokes out, take the hubs out. The bearings are perfect, there's nothing wrong with the bearings. It just need new headstock bearings and swing arm bearings. They were very corroded and a bit grindy, so we're just going to change them for all that they cost. It's worth just changing them. But yeah, the debate with the wheels is whether we strip them and get all new spokes, black spokes, and then just paint the hubs and the rims, or we paint the spokes as well, or powder coat them. But some of them are quite rusted, and a lot of the nipples, when each spoke comes from the hub, to attach it to the rim, you got a little nipple that you screw it into basically. And a lot of them are very badly corroded, so definitely going to need a lot of new nipples. I feel that's a bit wrong saying that, but yeah. But aye, let's get cracked on with this today. That's basically ready for primer. I hope we get that the primer this week. So we are in between Christmas and New Year now, so it's that sort of week where nobody knows what day it is. Today is Saturday. So yeah, Saturday the 27th of December. So yeah, let's get cracked in with this for a bit today. So first thing we're going to do on the Vmax is we're going to get this. It's really hard to fucking film this way, isn't it? Sorry for the swearing, the language. I am basically Scottish, so it's very hard not to swear. So we're going to get the rear caliper off, which I think is very badly seized. Just to manoeuvre this bike out from the side and into the middle is a fucking nightmare to push a bit and move a bit. So once we get that caliper off, it gives a lot more room, and we'll get fired in, we'll get the airbox off. I think we'll drain all the fluids first. We'll get the oil out, the coolant out, and we'll get stuff like the airbox off, check the air filter, maybe need a new air filter. Yeah, and then we'll just start working our way through it, labelling everything up, bagging it up as we go. See, we don't rush this. This is where we need to take our time. So everything needs to come off in separate, each individual part. So say, like, for instance, I'm taking it off this, the rear brake caliper. So the caliper will go in a bag with the bolts associated to the caliper. And then that'll be labelled up, rear caliper, Vmax, and then I'll write on it next to it on a note what's going to be done with it. So this will all need, probably strip it all back, take the pistons out, sandblast it, and then repaint it black. It's a bit, customer did try and paint some of this, I think he said he hydro dipped or something like that. They did do actually not a bad job. Like, I can imagine when it was first done it looked alright, but as the time's gone on, the corners, like the sharp edges and that are just wearing away. So we'll just sandblast them, strip them back, sandblast them back to bare metal, and then we'll get them painted with some high heat resistant paint, some gloss black paint, and they'll look banging. Yeah, a lot of things like these bolts and stuff. So I'll show you. Like all this, we'll take all this needs to be replaced to a nice new flat Fluoriska black bolts. Customer wants a white black on black look. Apart from these chromey bits here on the engine block, they're going to stay like that. It's not even chrome, it's like raw metal looking, but we're going to get that all cleaned up and they'll stay on like that. But then, this is the wiring. Not knocking the customer at all. I've done the same before when I was learning, but yeah, it's very hard. If you can wait, I'll turn this camera around. So here is the wiring. Try and focus on that bit. Just twisted together. Not ideal, but it did work, to be fair with him. It worked. And if it works, it's good. So this is the new solenoid. When the customer tried to start it a couple of weeks ago, before he brought it to us, it wasn't starting. Quick investigation, yep, solenoids green crackered. So we just got a new one of them off of, I think My Motor we got that from. I like My Motor, good deals, good prices, really fast service. I think that came the very next day. We ordered it at like 10 in the morning the next day. So rear calipers off, rear brake fluids off, out, drained, whatever you would say. It's on the stand with a jack lift. We do need to get a lift. Just try to find a decent one, but we'll get there. Right now we've got it on the jacks, the wheels are off the ground, and we can work on it a little bit easier. So brakes are off, discs looks a little bit, it's a bit of a lip on the edge, and on the inner edge it's very corroded. Probably, I think the customer said you'll get a new disc for the back, and the front one's absolutely perfect. But let's just take a wee look at the caliper. So if you look inside there, fairly corroded, a lot of rust, and they were definitely well stuck on, that's for sure as well. But that's off. We'll get that stripped back later on in the build. So now I think we'll drop the oil and the coolant, front brake off, or drain the front reservoir, front brakes off. There's two. They're getting upgraded to the, is it this one? Yes, he has new calipers for this one. So he's a single pot the new, he wants dual pot, if you know what I mean. But we'll explain that later on. So but we will need to figure out a bracket, because the calipers he's got, which are the 4-pot, are off the newer Vmax. And this is a 91, so we need to find a bracket. There will be one, somebody will have made one out there. If not, we'll need to fucking figure something out, get one made maybe. Right, let's get this oil out and see what the oil's like. I think it'll be fine. Like everything, the brake fluid was clear. So, right, let's have a look at this oil. I just thought I would show you while I'm under, having a look around. Quite a lot of corrosion. But it is fucking 24-year-old. It's an oil filter casing housing. It's not too bad. All these clamps and that here, these all get replaced. Hoses, they feel a little bit brittle, to be honest. They don't feel very plush and movable. So I might need to replace the hoses. The starter motor in here looks extremely corroded. When I tested it, it was, well, this is the bike that starts, so it's fine. Just need a good clean, I think. Repainting. Riding solo, I'm riding solo. Dushed. There we go. Just like that. That's how corroded it is. So, let's get that there. Yeah, that hose. Whoa, bring it in. But this hose, I think I do have a replace. Not looking very good. So, I need to leave in an hour and a half. As it is, like I said, the 27th, so there's going for a steak pie of the day. I love that. Excuse the hair. So, deciding what to do. Do I just get the front brakes off? And then that's the rear and front brakes removed. And then we have time, we could do the airbox. It's only a short day, I've only been in since 10 o'clock, so it's just a couple of that, about 4 hours. 4 hours just to do some bits. It's nice to get out of the house for a wee bit. Helps me clear the heat. But I think we'll just get these front brakes off. If we get the front brakes off, try to get the bars and that off. It's quite a bit of a nightmare to get into the airbox and that with all the bars and that still on. So I think that will be the plan. So we'll do these front brakes, get them off. Customer needed a measurement for, I think it was a clutch cable as well. Clutch cable, yeah, because we're getting black ones, new braided black ones. That looks very fucking long, the new, like. It looks like it goes from the clutch cylinder, doing along the frame, past long by the back of the fuel tank back round. That is a very long, very, very long clutch cable. Hey ho, measure once, cut twice. But hey, yeah, let's do that. Let's get these front brakes off. At least we know the brakes are off it. It's looking quite good. I don't know how it looks good when it's fucking in half and bits, but see, I think that would make a nice bobber. It's got the nice line, comes down, cut the frame, really short fender on the back, nice wide handlebars. But hey, everybody's got their own styles. I just like bobbers. I'm really into my like. So back in 2006, 6, I was at college studying motorcycle restoration. Very fortunate to be able to do that course because it wasn't a funded course, it was private. My mum and dad had to fund it for me to do it, so I'm very appreciative I got to do that all them years ago. So I did that course, that was a year's course. there's only so much you can learn unless you went through every single bike ever made. You're only going to learn so much. So part of that course was I got what was it, a Jawa? I can't remember what it was now. It was a Jawa. It had the racing fenders. I think it was a 1979 Jawa. It was a 4-cylinder. So that's that long ago. That's nearly 20 years ago. But yeah, I did that. I restored all that. That was a brand new bike, and that got sold, and it covered some of the costs of what it cost to redo it. And obviously, I got my qualification in motorcycle restoration mechanics after a few courses now on just the basics. Just a bit of a refresh on how the engine works, certs and certs, compression, spark, etc. How the clutch plate works, clutch springs, etc., etc. So I'm up to date on all that lot, how to tune the carbs, etc. Start riding a bike, it all comes back to you very quickly. So I've learnt all that. We've gone all over that. I've got my a qualification in that now, and I've also done a certificate in motorcycle electronics. So that's why I'm debating whether just to do this as a new wiring harness. Put the skills really to the test there. But anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, I like the Jawas. I like the Bobber look. Bobbers is my sort of bike. But everybody's got their own what they like, so this will look nice as a Street Fighter, so we'll get that done. So yeah, let's get these. I'm waffling now, just looking at that pish. So yeah, let's get the front brakes off and the brake cables, brake levers and that sort of thing. Try to get these handlebars and that off before we need to leave to go over for some steak pie. So that's us finished for today. All the fluids are drained, front brakes are off. Clutch is drained. Well, clutch is drained. Clutch fluid drained. Coolant drained. Brake fluid drained. Front calipers off. Oil drained. Looked at some of the wiring at the back. Need to try and figure that out. Remove the rear tail lights and the rear indicators. So yeah. Time to go get some. So yeah, just a quick day today. Be back in. Not tomorrow because it's my birthday, but back in Monday. I'll get more done on this. I hopefully be able to show you a bit more of what I'm actually doing. I'm not the best at charging things up, so I'll get this camera fully charged for Monday. Catch you all then. Hope you all had a good Christmas. See you soon.